Hello. I'd like to continue my little video series here talking about accountability, inputs, outputs, and how we achieve things. I'd like to ask you a question today, a little bit of a twist on it today. I'd like to ask you a question. Do you believe that leaders are born or they are made? They learn to become leaders. Most people seem to think that leaders are born. We often say, Joe, he's a natural born leader. But in fact, leadership is a skill that's learned. And when we see somebody who says a natural born leader, well, it just means they learned the skills at an early age. I want to talk very, very quickly about what the core competencies are of a leader. According to this book here, The Complete Leader by Ron Price, and he makes a point that there are 5 core competencies of leadership. And the first one is self-management, the ability to manage your time, manage your priorities. The second one is personal accountability, which I'm sure sounds familiar at this stage. So personal accountability, taking responsibility for what's going on, what's happening, the outcomes, the results that you're generating. Interpersonal skills and persuasion are 2 of them, like really, really important. The capacity to communicate effectively with people and to persuade them. And the ability to set and achieve goals, to actually set a goal and achieve them. Now, what's sort of interesting about this is, all this I'm sure resonates with you in what I've talked about in the last few videos. The foundation of all this really and truly is sort of an emotional intelligence. And when we talk about, for example, looking at your inputs and looking at your outputs, noticing what happens, reflecting on it, change the plan, or we talk about these 5 top leadership competencies, we're always talking about the same thing. We're talking about self-awareness, the ability to understand yourself, understand your emotions, understand what's going on for you. Self-regulation, your capacity, now that you understand that, to actually regulate your behaviours, regulate your emotions. And then looking over at others, the ability to understand others, their emotional makeup, what's going on for them, and to go to that place and to work with them to change that emotional state. And the last one being intrinsic motivation, that you have this intrinsic drive to just go and do anything. These are the 5 elements according to the Dan Goleman model of EQ. And I find it fascinating that the more I look at this stuff, the longer I've sort of been researching it and I suppose teaching it to a certain extent, the more convinced I become that the foundation to all of this really and truly is emotional intelligence. And if you're emotionally intelligent, you can modify your behaviours, you can focus on different things, and you can take ownership, you can take responsibility, you can be accountable, you don't mind what people think or say and do, and so on and so forth. So think about this concept. One last comment on it before I finish. In EQ, when we define EQ, what we're saying is, are you active in these areas? So are you active? Do you practice self-awareness? Are you active in, or do you practice self-regulation, and so on and so forth? And the point I'm trying to make here is that you can change this, you can grow this EQ, you can become stronger, more powerful in it by practicing it, by developing skills, developing techniques to practically practice it. And perhaps in the next video or the one after it, I might talk quickly about how you can go about doing that. So, but for now, just think about this. Over the next few days, think about, how can I become more self-aware? Can I practice self-awareness? What can I do to stop and pause for a moment and understand and notice what's going on? And as a consequence of that, can all the other things flow from that for me? So maybe give it a go. Try it the next few days. I look forward to hearing what you've got to say.